Keener tells us that perhaps the sphere that weighs testimony most deliberately is that of the courts, right? And so because of the stakes involved, legal approaches to testimony tend to reflect vigorous discipline and are applicable to the matters that we're talking about here. Excuse me. And thus, he tells us that some statisticians cite against Hume the work of the mathematician Charles Babbage. He was in the late 1700s, 1800s. Now, he's the originator, Keener tells us, of the modern computer, right? And so regarding witnesses, this is what Babbage has to say. Where a significant number of witnesses agree without prior collusion, an event's probability increases sufficiently to overturn any biases against it. So if you have a number of witnesses, several witnesses, so that's one component, I guess we might say, the calculation. So you have a number of witnesses, right? A significant number is what he says, and they all agree on a particular happening of an event, and there was no collusion before you talked with them, then he suggests that an event's probability increases sufficiently to overturn any bias against it, even if I haven't experienced it. Right. And so there's a criteria that he gives us to evaluate the value of testimony, eyewitness testimony. And so, in fact, Keener tells us that Babbage formulated his mathematical critique directly against Hume. Right?
So what you're watching this on is direct evidence of being against Hume. So you're welcome. This is great. Yeah, think about a bank robbery, right? So you could say maybe that the bank teller who's held up has some bias that would cause her to point the finger only at one person. But if you have a customer in there as well who was up in the same building but not directly in the line of fire or at the point of the gun, then that adds weight to the teller's testimony. And if they're all agreeing that the John Doe is the person who held up the bank, you add the security guard and the delivery driver and all these different people who are a part of it. There's no collusion. It's independent witnesses to themselves and a significant number, and there's no collusion. They're told not to talk to each other. That's a big stickler for courts. In fact, if collusion is found between even the questioner and the witness, it's thrown out as prejudicial. So this is something that we view as some of the highest priority, unless you, again, direct computer video evidence pointed directly at it. Some of the best type of evidence that you are going to get is direct eyewitness, people who were there, who were involved, who are able to be questioned from both perspectives and hold up under that criteria is sometimes even more beneficial than just a static video camera. So this is something that Hume almost doesn't allow. Babbage took advantage of to here. And you're consuming the technology based on Hume. So I guess we could be grateful for Hume. So it may be a slight miracle in and of himself right there.